Well, I really wanted to get done with this today. I even jacked that up, foolishly thinking that I would maybe get that tire fixed today. And I parked the truck here thinking maybe I'd change out that wheel bearing today, which I have. That was only $1,000 for a wheel bearing and some front brakes, sure. But that's not what we're gonna do. We're gonna go on a service call, and we're gonna get started right after this. Welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm Ross the Oliver Man, and we're gonna go work on a 1650 diesel. A guy called and said, I'm not smart enough to do this, so you just come do it. And I said, well, I'm probably not smart enough either, but I'll come do it. And basically, it's a similar story like when we worked on that 1750 for a guy several years ago. It's a different guy, but they put an alternator on it, won't charge, so they want that fixed. And then they said it doesn't start very good anymore, there's starter problems. And I said, well, probably gonna end up ordering a new starter like I do most of the time. So anyway, we're gonna go over and assess the situation, see what we got to do, if we can make it charge again with what he's got, or if we have to get more parts. Then we'll probably end up ordering a starter, and then we will have to go back and do all that. Also, while we're out and about, we may stop by that 550. The guy messaged me and said, or sent me a picture and said, what do you do when the brake pedal doesn't come back up? And I said, well, you probably got a broken spring. So I ordered some of those, and we're gonna maybe go slap those on for him. So they don't live too far apart, but that's what we're gonna do. All right, we're almost there. When they called, they actually said they had some 1650 sadness. And so I said, well, I'm pretty familiar with that. So yeah, but we'll go up around the corner here, and they said it should be in the shop. If nobody's there, I can, you know, do what I gotta do. So I'll bring you back in just a second. All right, right up here we are. This is also the place, I forgot to say, it's the same guys that own that Isiki White that we've worked on several times. So yeah, they were pretty faithful customers of the co-op, which was our Oliver dealer. So we'll check out this tractor. Sure. All right, look at this sweetheart. This is the same place that bought it new, I do believe. And I've never worked on this one before, but the earliest memory I have of it is when I was a kid. Our 1650, the water pump went out, so we took it to the dealer, and then we came back the next day to get it, went home and tried to put it on, and it wouldn't fit, and couldn't figure out what was going on. So we took it back, and we're telling them about it, and about the time this guy walked in with his water pump, he had rebuilt the day before, and it didn't fit his tractor, and they had pressed the wrong pulley onto the wrong shaft, and this one's got a double groove pulley, and ours did not. So that's the earliest recollection I have of this tractor existing. But I'm gonna turn that. I don't think that light gained us anything, and it makes a lot of noise, so maybe I'm wrong. I think we have just as much light as we had before, so. All right. So they did not replace the regulator, and I would almost say that that was a definite anytime you replace an alternator to just go ahead and replace the regulator. So that is probably part of our issue here. And I mean, because otherwise this is pretty self-explanatory here, you know. This should go on here. This other thing is a ground, because it's just jumpered over from here to here. But, and I don't know how far they got. I assumed that they had hooked it up and it didn't charge, and I don't know. Or, very possibly, what took place was it wasn't charging. They went and bought an alternator, put it on, and that still didn't fix it. And really the problem is the regulator. And so parts is probably what we're gonna do, because right there, that should be everything we need. Say the old feller, the tractor here needs a valve cover gasket pretty bad. It's marking its territory. They also said there was a starter problem. Yeah. Boy, it starts good. Boy, that runs really good. Oh, it's got it's a later one. It's a later diesel with the pencil injectors. That's interesting. I did not know that. But that would explain the double water pump thing. Yeah, that's a later. Interesting. All right, let's do some test probing here and see if we're even getting power up here to this, and then we'll decide what to do. Is the alternator getting ground? Yes. How can I get through this? Yes. Power here. So, I'm going to say we got a bad regulator. Oh, let's do this. If I shut this off, okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to get a different regulator, which I will have to go to the auto parts store and get. And then we will come back and make this work. Also, we will probably go ahead. There's a lot of stuff on here that I want to fix, but that's not what I'm here for. But yeah, so I will get a regulator, and then also based on what I heard there, and it's still got the original starter, which is kind of a clunky thing. I'll just order one of those new starters for it. Man, I wanna do so much to this, because I see things that are like those T's, they're leaking over here especially, I know. So anyway, we'll get it what they wanted, but I got to get parts, and then we will come back and finish it, and I'll probably just put that in this same video. There's the little Isiki. We'll go talk to him and tell him what we've learned. All right, now we will go see if we can find our old friend, the 550, and try to get some brake springs put on it. And hopefully that's really what it was. I assume that's what it was based on the picture he sent, but you never know. Something stupid could have happened, and it could be way wrong. But we will see. There you are. There you are. There's why I couldn't get to it. Get some light in here. I told him to tie that up, so we mini vice gripped it up. But let's see about putting some spring on. Yeah, something's not right there, is it? Something's not right, but I don't know what yet. Oh wow, we unfurled the... That's an interesting failure. It must have come unhooked, and then it got caught on something and pulled way out of whack. And now that I think about it, I think I might have put brake springs on this once before, because they look like new, and I brought another new one here just in case. Also, I'm so big I can't hardly make this happen. Come on. Come, oh, there. Yeah, that other one's like new, so I'm not gonna replace it. All right. Oops, let's take the good one with us. I'll lay this. Hopefully he gets the idea. I'll send him a message and tell him it's fixed. But yeah, that should do her. So, good little 550. All right, we're back. We're gonna swap this out and then work on the charging system. Take the battery cable off so we don't melt her down. All right, 5/8 probably. There we go. Yeah, them lights are pretty loud, huh?
Well, they were free, Ross. So.
Well, you gotta.
So I burnt 2 of them, giving up. So I got 2
of them.
2 more where those there are. So as soon as they give out, they were free.
You gotta have that, yeah. Not really, because I tried the other day to have them on it. It was better for the less noise than it was.
That's what I was.
Yeah.
Those things come off pretty easy.
Pretty good. The back bolt's kind of hard to get to sometimes, but basically it'll be fine. I don't know how many of these starters I put on there. Off the internet from a place that they sell the starters and they sell a few of the sheet metal pieces and stuff for Oliver. I think it's just a guy who sells a few parts, you know, farm, like a guy.
Yeah.
He sells some like common missing pieces like hydraulic covers on 1855 and some battery covers and different things and steps, and so yeah, I've used a bunch of them.
Pretty reliable guy, of course.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. I'm sure you could probably find stuff in other places, but if it's somebody that I've dealt with before,
well,
then
that's just it. When I get on the internet, I'm not sure who I'm.
Yeah, so I like to at least know. Sometimes it's a little more expensive, but I'll know they'll warranty it if there's a problem, you know. So yeah, so some of them places they won't.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's where I could find starters, but I never know who I'm dealing with or.
What were these brackets from? A loader or a corn picker?
Corn picker. That's the one Dad used to fix sweet corn with. And then Grandpa had his front mount cultivators.
Okay.
He had 4 cultivators. His front mount cultivator.
Yeah.
That's what I'm pretty sure that was used for the cultivators too, if I remember right.
That could be.
I think. Dad bought it new to pick sweet corn with back in 1967.
He was telling me about.
68, I don't know what it
about that the other day. Yeah, because it is a light one because it's got that lighter style engine with the pencil injectors in it. So.
He'd always have to take the fenders off, and then he'd drive down 31 to Morgan's down here, and they
Put the picker on it.
Put the picker on it, yeah. I think he picked 500 or 600 acres on something.
Wow.
2-row picker and hay wagon beside it.
Let's see here. If I could get to that one. Really? That's.
I don't, unless Grandpa may have, but Dad never did.
Huh. So in these sections, we got to talking about different things, so there's not going to be any audio. So just enjoy the sound of my voice right now while I'm telling you about this. And then we will get back to the regular schedule of the way the videos work in just a second. So just a few more seconds of silence, and then we'll go back to normal. I got it on there, but I'll probably put on something over it, you know. I don't put personal conversations in if we're talking about other people around the neighborhood, you know. I don't like
I never thought about that. I didn't. You should do it.
I don't. If it's something, you know.
I got enough of that at home if you can.
That's it, yeah.
I mean, you can do all you want and then some, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm kind of amazed that with this being a 67,
Well, no, it's 67 or 68.
or that late anyway, that it doesn't have the 3-speed in it, because that was a brand new thing at that time. So maybe they weren't. Them old timers didn't want to pay the extra $10 or whatever, you know. But a lot of the times you couldn't sell them on stuff if it was much of anything, you know. But if you were coming off of like a Farmall H or something, this is a Cadillac anyway, so I guess they didn't think they needed all that. What'd they have before this? They had like an E3 co-op or something, didn't they? Or what?
We got that. Grandpa had a 1550.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, I think he had a. I mean, we still got the E3 across the road, and then he had a 1550, a 1650, an 1855, and a 1952.
Okay, yeah, I remember the 1950T.
It had saddle tank on the side.
The fender tanks, fender fuel tanks.
Fuel tank.
Do you use the preheater on this at all? No. Then I'll probably just not hook this up, because the cable is, it won't fit in there unless we do some grinding on it. Well, we can if I mean. Do you have a battery powered grinder, like an angle grinder or something?
Well, no, but I mean, I'm not going to use it.
Oh.
Should we just cut it off and get rid of it?
We can cut.
Or what should we do? I'm not going to use it raw.
I'm just going to tuck it back under here, and then if someday when you restore it to museum quality, then we'll untuck it and put that back the way it's supposed to be. Yeah. There. Yeah, I don't know how well they worked around here. Guys probably never even really used them much. In the winter, in the northern places where it gets bitterly cold, they always claimed that these Olivers would start, you know, a couple cycles of that and crank it over, and then they'd start when other stuff wouldn't. But let's see how it starts now. That's not a very good sales pitch for it. I'm not sure. It should be. Okay, so I wonder if the end went bad on there while we were doing that. Okay, I can crimp a different end on there. That's probably... Yeah, so, there you go. It's been around here as long as you remember. Yeah, plus it. You get used to using it for certain jobs, and then you'd have to try to figure out something else. That just... Yeah, these are really handy for auger. I mean, yeah, that is handy. Yeah, some of them wide prints, I think they get their geometry wrong, and they don't. You can't hardly back a liquid. One of them, they don't work well with like the wagon or something. And they get... Now, let's see what happens. It's all over there. One problem solved. Yeah, them old ones, I think they sucked a lot of juice to try to... Yeah, that's money well spent. I've done that to every one of mine, and I think I think it makes your battery last longer too, because it's not working as hard to do it. Take the show over here now. Usually if you replace a alternator, pretty well got to replace the regulator too, because a lot of times I think that the real culprit is probably the regulator, you know. But yeah, we just... Let's see if I can get to those. It's kind of a trick to get it off of there, and so I brought one that's ready to go on, but it may still end up being... I really didn't want to have to take the fuel lines out of the way, but I might have to be able to get the bolts loose out of there. That regulator's riveted to that plate, so I've already got one where I did it all, switched it over, so... Yeah. And then I'll probably have to rewire it too, because the new ones don't come wired correctly to make this tell it to go. It's I don't know why, but it's one of those things. It ought to be loose because it's well lubed. I mean, that's not even the size anymore. I don't know. Yeah, we might have. I'm 3/8 long. Yeah, longer 3/8 extension. Maybe I can sneak it in there and get that out of there. I'm pretty sure they're fine threaded too, so those do really well when they're coated with all kinds of stuff. It might have come out, yeah, it come out of the block instead. That's the way they come out 90% of the time. Man, it acts like it is, but I'm sure as soon as I knew that wasn't too good to be true. I just gotta hold the bracket. I gotta hold that fuel line up because it's that's where it needs to be. And then it gets where you can't turn it by hand. There we go. Yep, it's just a matter of
turning just right.
Probably should get that, or make you a new one, a ground wire from one to the other. Probably didn't bring the right stuff either. A flat head screwdriver and maybe a 7/16 wrench or something if you got one. There. We'll try it like this, but I'm sure I'll have to re-jumper it because they don't make them like they used to. Yeah, we gotta add a wire. I didn't figure they fixed that problem. Okay. The old ones on the back side of the regulator were barred together so that the two middle terminals were connected. And now they're split, so now I got to make a jumper to energize both at the same time. Otherwise it won't charge. So, because you've always got to have one that's hot all the time and one that gets hot with the key. But essentially what I'm doing is they're both going to get hot with the key, and that's enough to make it go. But if I really wanted to be precise, I could run one over to the battery. Actually, they want you to run it all the way back to the battery so that it gets feedback, but they work like this because I've done it a lot. But I had the first one I changed, and that's been several years ago, and it wouldn't work, and I couldn't figure it out because I'd done it before and never had trouble. Well, then I got to looking close, and they changed the way they did it. They made them different. And I guess, I don't know, on the cars, if maybe the cars already have all the wires in the holder and the tractor ones just didn't. I don't know, but they definitely don't work. I know it doesn't have anything to tell it to charge. Make sure I get them in there. Oh, that one's that one ain't had nothing in it for its whole life, so it's totally packed full of. Alright. See, it's gonna go in there. Like this. Now, let's see what happens. Well, it didn't work. Well, I guess we're not done yet. It's still not going. I heard it click that on though. So let me get a test light, I guess.
I was gonna say I got my tester. Do we just need to test the gauge? The gauge always did work, but
This should get hot when we turn on the key. Yeah, it's getting everything it needs. It's not.
it shouldn't. I don't know a whole lot what I'm doing, but when you put an alternator on and you have all these wires off and you got the tractor running, shouldn't that show charging when you put it on there?
On the alternator,
yeah,
it won't show it on wire. I mean, yeah, if you had all the wires disconnected, but you need the regulator to tell it to charge. So you have to have, you could take this wire off. This is the wire that goes back to the battery. So it should.
I mean, is this good?
No, I don't know about that. Where'd you get it?
Napa.
It might not be.
Well, that's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
How can you?
You have to have it hooked up like this, and then I should have brought that multimeter to see, but it should read like 13.7 at the battery. You know, we can try that. We can try putting that on the battery and see, but it's not kicking the gauge up, so it's telling me it's not.
Well,
it's not charging.
That's how on semis and everything when I change alternators.
They've got internal regulators though, probably.
Oh, okay.
So that's all made into one.
Okay.
Like the one wire alternators and stuff, yeah, you could do that because it doesn't need anything to tell it to go.
But I don't know if that was the problem now.
See, but see, we're getting good. This wire is obviously good because it's sending the right thing back, but I should have been able to get right now, even if this wire was bad somewhere, this should have shown that it was charging.
Right.
Because it is now, yeah. And so it's not.
I mean, it's brand new.
Yeah, I mean we're getting 12 volts here, so that tells me this wire is good because this just goes right over to the, well, this actually would go through the gauge. So I'm wondering if.
That's how I always check alternators.
Yeah, I've never had any trouble with that. If you got power in all the places you need power and you got a brand new regulator and a brand new alternator, it should be fine. And it's not. See, that's hot there. And then these will come on with the key. And that one on with the key. Now, because it's jumpered. You can hear the regulator turning on. I almost think that alternator's bad, but I don't know that I've ever had one out of the box like that was bad. But I mean, you pretty well, this needs to be replaced when you replace an alternator.
Yeah.
That's a general rule of thumb. But
there's no way to check, or how do you know if this is good or bad?
if I take this wire, or make another one real quick, that'd probably be the easiest. Let's make sure. Yep, that's the. Okay. Now. Because
Okay.
we bypassed this and tried to force it to charge and it won't. So that's weird that you'd get one out of the box right after having one that's bad, but unless your regulator was bad, and that's what I was working on a while ago. I wondered if the regulator was bad and your old alternator was good, but by the time we go through all the hassle to put that back on,
Oh, no.
it's probably just worth it to go get another one because that one's so full of dust and stuff.
Yeah, no, I'll just, yeah.
But that's what I'm thinking. I mean, that's weird, but
It's like winning the lottery. Should have bought a lottery ticket.
yeah, I mean no, because I don't know that I've ever had that happen on all these, and I've put a bunch of these on and never had that problem. But
All right.
try that and see. There's a chunk missing out of it, isn't there? So this wasn't a very good one to start with that they rebuilt, huh? I think that's this was built on Friday afternoon at 4:58 p.m. And they thought good enough. Put it in there, yeah.
5 o'clock.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if we need to take the battery cable off so it doesn't arc out for you while you're.
Yeah.
But, all right, friends, we're back home, and we're gonna call that a half success. We got his starter changed. That works great. We got the new regulator put on and wired up correctly where you can hear it click and come on, and it energizes the field wire, but the things would not charge. And so what we finally determined is I think that alternator is bad. I think that his brand new alternator he got is also not doing the thing. And how did we arrive at that? Well, the other day when I went, it was bolted onto the tractor, and I kind of looked at it a little bit, and this is his regulator that he had on there. And I am not a fan of changing an alternator, not a regulator. So that is kind of where we left it. I said, we really need to get you a new regulator for your new alternator and then go again. And he had it hooked up and it wouldn't do anything. So I pretty well just went in and looked at it, and I said, I'll get you a regulator coming and a starter, and they were on board with that. They said, that sounds like a good idea, because if we have problems with the alternator, see, the store will not warranty it if you're using the old regulator. So that's where I was at with that. It might have, I don't know. So I don't know how much of the footage you will see, but what we did when I was testing things, I know that the regulator's working now, not just because it's brand new, because you can't go by that, but when you turn the key on, you can hear it click, it's coming on, and then it would light the test light. The wiring is good, and it would excite. So basically this is our exciter wire to tell this to go. So finally what we did is, I said, why don't we just make a jumper wire, and we'll jumper it directly from here and give it 12 volts, and then if it doesn't start charging, then we know that we got a problem. And we did that, and there was none charging. And also, after closer inspection of his alternator, and that's why I came over here to look at this one, that one was missing a chunk out of the case. So I don't know what kind of hard life it had at the rebuild factory, but I just question that it is the correct way. So he said that he was going to go ahead and take care of that, you know, because he dealt with them. So I was going to let him deal with exchanging, and he can put that on himself. But the tractor should be ready to go. If he puts on a good alternator, it should be charging, no issue at all. So he's going to let me know after a while, either way, whether that fixed it or didn't fix it, and then we can go from there. But all of the wiring is good. I checked it all, and I got everything I need. I mean, this wire has 12 volts to it, good as gold. And then this wire will get hot when you turn the key on. You know, it tells the thing starts, yeah, it's doing the things it's supposed to do. But that alternator inside is not doing the things it's supposed to do. So that's where we are. If you don't know about these, so what I did was I just swapped him out bracket and all, because also I had one of these that was better. You probably can't tell because it's so rickety with dirt. But if you look at this on mine, you see how this is an original setup. It's riveted to that isolator bracket that has like rubbers in it. and it's supposed to protect for vibration. Well, you don't get that when you buy a regulator, you just get the regulator. So if you have an original, you have to grind the rivets off and then bolt it to it. And somebody's already changed this one once because it's got screws or bolts on it. So I didn't pay attention the other day because this was so crammed in there with stuff, but I just assumed that his rubber stuff was probably not very good, and it's not. So what I did is I had one on hand, and I swapped it out and already had it made up. I had the new regulator bolted to it, so all I had to do is change this whole bracket and we could be in business. And that was a good move we made. I was looking around and it was hard to find these isolator things, this bracket, but it is out there to be had. If you go to Napa, the part number is VR805. I found some from Agco, which I think are now since obsolete, and I just paid a bunch more for them. But I need one for Dad's because his broke. His regulator's bad, but it you know what I'm saying? It's not very good. The bracket, the rubber bracket. And you say, well, who cares? Just screw it down and whatever. Well, I guess you could go that route, but then the bolt holes don't match anything. See, especially on this orange tractor here, the bolt holes span they're drilled for this isolator deal, see? So that's why I'm gonna put that back on. But I kind of had in my mind here now, what I'm doing is, and I don't know if I can do that either, but for fun I thought, why don't we test this regulator and see if this regulator is in fact but it's not going to do it because his has, let me see here, well, this one's made differently, okay? And this is another thing I've talked about before. This one has 3 terminals and this one has 4, and the only difference that I know on them is that the one that is 4, it is not connected back in here. So like for instance, what you have to do to make it charge is make a little jumper wire. We've done that before. This is the kind that you get now that has 4, and what it's essentially doing is you don't have a way to signal it to charge if you don't have it set up that way. So the cows are carrying on now, but don't worry about that. So I'm not going to mess with this. It's very obvious to me that this thing, whether it was really totally shot or not, does that look like a piece that you want to reuse? No. If you put a brand new alternator on, you need to put a new regulator on. And in this case, it also works out that the brand new alternator was also bad. So let's just pop this open for fun fact field trip findings. But I will say that since the cover's loose, it's probably nasty in there a little bit too. I don't know, you know, that. Yeah, does that look very good? I don't think so. There, see, it's broke. So this regulator was bad. It burned this wire in too. And so the other day when I was messing with it, I was getting nothing out of anything. And today, it's the same story. I'm getting nothing out of anything. So the regulator was bad. Don't write in the comments that, oh, the regulator was fine and you should have left it alone. No, it was not fine. And we got a nice new one on the tractor. We got it all wired up correctly for him. We got a better rubber isolator on there for him. And it's all set up where now he can take over and finish it because he's got to trade out and get a better alternator. So you shouldn't have to go get new parts like that, but such is life, friends. I mean, that kind of stuff happens more than you think today, in today's world. So yeah, that's where we're going to leave this one. And I would say that he'll be fine because if he puts a good alternator on, it should charge, so we probably don't have to go back there for that. But whilst we were there off camera, we went and looked at a plow, and I said, I'll take it. So we're going to get another semi-mount plow, and he's going to go down to where it was away from home, and we drove down there and looked at it, and I said, yes, I want. So he's going to go get it up to his house. Unless it seems like it's going really well down the road, then he said he might just pull it over here, and he might use that 1650 to do it. But it is a 508 plow. It has the sticker on it, but the thing that puzzles me about it is it's different than this 508 plow. And pardon my weeds that grew up in here, but did we not say that this was a 508 plow? I'm pretty sure it says on it somewhere 508. Maybe it didn't. Maybe we determined it was a 508 because of the I think I always heard the 508 had these holes. Okay, well this plow does not have those holes, and it's set back in there. So I got to do some checking up on that. We might have been wrong. Maybe this is not a 508. Maybe this is like a 588. I don't know. No, we looked that up last time, and I thought that we determined that the difference was those 4 holes, but this plow is the second one I've seen now that does not have the holes. So at any rate, it's like this, but it's different. So, and it's also in pristine shape. I don't know about the plow points in that because it was down in the ground and there was straw and stuff around it, but the frame of the plow is beautiful. So anyway, one of these days we'll have to have us a plow day and really get after it. But I just wanted to show, I don't know, because he and I got to talking, so I don't know how much footage we'll have audio. I'll probably cut stuff out or put in whatever music over it or just erase it totally. But we didn't get it to charge, but we got the new starter on. That was fine. We got the regulator on. It's wired up, ready to go, which is now unwired. I unwired it so that he could take the alternator off. So all he's got to do is pop on a good alternator and about 3 wires, the field wire, the battery wire, and then there's a ground wire that goes to it, and that thing should charge all day long because it's set up just the way that it's supposed to. So we will see what becomes of it, but he said he would text me either way so that we knew, you know, if I had to come back or if I should figure out a bill and get him a bill. But we'll probably take some of that, probably take some of it off and trade on that plow. So at any rate, I don't know if we had an interesting video here, but I'm going to try to put it together in some kind of coherent footage. But you've seen me do all that same stuff before. I mean, on other things, changing to a high torque starter, much like this one has, and then also changing out regulator, making a jumper wire, and it's good. It's just very bizarre. It's very bizarre that would happen, though, that you would have something like that happen where you just couldn't get it to do anything, and then find out that it's got to be a problem with your alternator, because like I said, there's a chunk missing out of the case, and I just wonder if when it was put together it was not right, or maybe the cheapo parts failed, or I couldn't really tell you what was the culprit. But I think he's going to be fine as soon as he just goes back and gets one that's actually good to go. But I guess we'll call this one here. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.